Today we're going to do a little challenge to see how many of these books that I own have I actually read. We'll see. So this video was inspired by Mary's Many Books on Instagram, where she does a reoccurring series where she has her husband, partner, whatever, give her books from her shelf, and if she hasn't read it, she has to take a shot. Now, I was not going to take shots on my YouTube channel, but I thought it was a cool idea that could potentially be a fun game, or a very embarrassing one, depending on the luck of the draw. I enlisted my mom to help me with this video, and she's going to pick 10 random books off my shelves and see if I've read them or not. Now, to make it a little more interesting without me getting drunk on camera, I've decided that there's going to be a prize and a punishment depending on how I do. So I need to have read at least 6 out of the 10 to win. If I win, I get to go to Barnes & Noble and buy something for myself. If I haven't read at least 6 out of 10 and I lose, I need to pick one of the books that I haven't read to read in, let's just say, like the next month or two on a TBR. So let's see how it goes. I think the issue is that I get a lot of the books that I read from the library now, and there are some books on here that I bought a very long time ago and I no longer have any interest in reading. So this could go well. It could go terribly. We'll see.
First selection.
It's one of my Agatha Christie's. I could hear you. Yeah, I didn't read this one yet. This is one of the Miss Marples, one of the later Miss Marples. I think Miss Marple goes on like a Caribbean cruise, and there's a guy on the cruise who tells her that he knows a murderer, and then he himself ends up being murdered, I think. But I haven't read this one. So you could have picked another one that I had read. I have read several of those. You're still back there. I hear you behind me.
Shh. Thinking.
I did read this one. Yeah, this one's really good. It's by Natalie Haynes. It's a feminist, like, Trojan War mythology story. And the cover is beautiful. So I did read this one and I really liked it. So that's good. So that's one that I didn't read and one that I did.
Okay, got your eyes closed?
Yeah, they're closed. No, I didn't read this. And honestly, like, I'm like ashamed of this because I've owned this for so long. It was edited by George R.R. Martin. It's a collection of like female-centric stories. There's an Outlander story in here, which is, I think, one of the reasons I bought it. I haven't read it. Yeah, and I've had this since I think like 2018 or something ridiculous like that. So I really deserve to be publicly shamed. But I don't read this either.
But it matches your outfit.
It is beautiful, which honestly, okay, this is like a young adult fantasy. I bought this possibly before I even had a booktube channel. I don't remember. And I bought it because the cover is one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. It's gorgeous. I honestly, I think I'm gonna unhaul this or put it in a little free library, because just realistically, I will never read this. I don't read this type of book anymore. And I bought it because it was so beautiful. It was back in the day when I would just go to Barnes & Noble and buy things randomly because they kind of sounded interesting. And like, I'm never gonna read this. It's gorgeous though. It's really beautiful. But yeah, is it gonna ever be read? No. So wait, how many of you picked now and I've only read one of them? Like, you're embarrassing me. Please pick something that I've read. Please, please, please. Oh, well, that's a gimme. Like, of course I've read The Hunger Games. You've read The Hunger Games too. She's just being nice to me now. But I'm super excited for the prequel that's gonna come out in 2025. I'm sure it's going to make me feel many emotions. And honestly, I kind of want to do an entire Hunger Games trilogy reread, just because it's been so many years since I read these. But I love them. And even now, like all these years after the fact, I remember them fondly. So I think it might be fun to do a reread as an adult before the new book comes out, which I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered it because I'm very excited. So this was just a gimme. You were just being nice to me.
I was. All right, this is the one I wanted to ask you about.
I did read this. Yes, I did. So this is a Great Gatsby sequel, which, I mean, spoiler alert for the end of The Great Gatsby. Gatsby gets murdered, right? Seemingly by Myrtle's husband. Is his name George?
Don't remember.
He gets murdered by Myrtle's husband. But in this book, the detective actually finds a woman's pin at the scene, and so thinks that maybe that wasn't actually who murdered him. And he's basically, like, it follows, Daisy, Jordan, and also Myrtle's sister, who's an original character, trying to figure out if one of them actually killed him. So I did read this and I enjoyed it. I think the issue I had with it, though, is that it made Daisy and Jordan better people than I think they actually are. And I think Nick a worse person than he actually is. And Tom sucks, but Tom sucks in the original too. Like, we all hate him. He's awful. So do I need to get this next one to actually stay in the game?
I don't know.
I did read this. This was something I read many years ago, and I really liked it. It's a young adult, first in a duology, and the teen character is like a fixer who she goes to live with her sister in Washington, D.C. Think like Scandal, but for teenagers. And I remember I really liked it at the time, like loved it. I remember one of the twists in it. It was a long time ago, but I did read it, and I really enjoyed it back when I was actually reading an adult fiction. So it's like Scandal for teenagers, basically,
Lilac, like your color of your sweater.
Okay, so haven't read this. Do really want to. It's about Jane Austen's sister Cassandra in the aftermath of Jane Austen's death. There's a mini-series coming to Masterpiece PBS in 2025.
Well, you need to read it.
I need to read it before then, yes. And I think I put this on a TBR at least once, or considered it for a TBR. I think I considered it for a TBR where I had the viewers vote and it didn't get chosen. But I do really need to read this because I want to see the series when it comes out. So, yeah, haven't read it yet, though. Ooh, one from the top, it sounds like. No, I didn't read this either.
I think you ought to start shopping from your own bookcase and no more Barnes & Noble for you.
I do still have a gift card though with like $15 on it. And a lot of these books I have read, but those aren't the ones you're handing to me. Okay? This is the first in a series set in 1910 10. And basically the main character, she's hired to be a man's secretary in colonial Singapore. When she arrives, the guy who hired her is dead. He's been murdered. And so she ends up kind of investigating the case with a police officer who's, of course, very handsome and single. Because, you know, that's how these books go.
Right.
But I bought this on Thrift Books because I heard somebody on BookTube say that it was really good, and I haven't read it yet. You know, the problem, though, is that, like, all these historical mysteries are, like, series. And I can't be reading 75 series because I won't remember. You can't see what she's doing in the world's smallest violin. But that's the problem. Like, I can't be... there's so many that genuinely I really want to read, but I'm like, how many series can one girl possibly read before it's just not realistic?
One could just not buy something outside of a series until she's finished the series that she's working on.
You know, I think this video is a bad idea because she is judging me so hard.
One last book.
Okay, please pick something that I have read. I mean, like, listen, I'm going to lose no matter what, so we're just doing this for fun.
I mean, I gave you an Agatha Christie. Here.
Yeah, but it was one of the ones I haven't read. There's so many of those that I have read.
Okay, then let's see which one I'm going to...
You're probably going to pick another one that I haven't read yet, because you're a mean person.
No.
I didn't read this.
No. No. All right, hold on.
No, it's fine. I lost. But, like, you know how many of these I have read?
All right. Well, I mean, other than the obvious ones.
I've read this. Here, you want to see my Miss Marples? Cards on the Table. I read that. Death on the Nile. Evil. I read all of these. I read this one. I read that one. I read all these three right here. Read this one. And most of the short stories. So, like, literally, you just hate me.
That's it.
That went even worse than I thought, to be honest with you. Like, it wasn't even competitive whatsoever. And I think, like, pretty much almost every book on this shelf I have read.
I picked some from that shelf.
Yeah, but
so
maybe I should have moved them around so that you would pick more books that I have read. Because, let me see, how many books on this shelf have I actually not read? 4.
So I just got lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally read all of these but 4, I think.
I mean, this shelf, I couldn't take any. Well, I mean, if I had taken Lord of the Rings, I was pretty sure you hadn't read all of them.
No, I just read the first one. I don't love it, to be honest.
But the rest are all Game of Thrones, so I know you read those.
You couldn't have given one of those to me, like, as a freebie, like you did with the Hunger Games? No. No, she said. That was really pathetic. And now I hate myself. Well, that didn't go super well. So, as my punishment for losing, I need to pick one of these books to read in the next month or two, and I'm going to choose Miss Austen by Jill Hornby? How do you pronounce her name? But I really should have read this already, and it is the type of book I'm in the mood for right now, so I think this will be a good choice. Like I said, there is a Masterpiece PBS miniseries, 4 episodes I think, that's coming out in 2025, so I need to read this before then because I'm gonna want to watch the series, and obviously I should read the book before I watch the show. So I'm going to pick this. Not mad at it. I really do want to read this, and I'll try to get to it soon. So it'd be not a terrible result. So please give this video a big thumbs up to support me during this difficult time. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Why don't you leave a book stack emoji in the comment section if you made it this far. Thank you so much for being here. Please do subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. I think that's about it. I don't know why I thought this would be fun. It didn't go my way, but you know, it happens. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. I'll see you next time.